it's Renee with One Meal at a Time, and I'm back today to show you how to make a pie. So it's Easter, and I was thinking about my son-in-law. He loves chocolate, and I've never made this pie before, so I'm going to do something a little different. I hope it turns out well. I got this idea from, I don't know where I got it from, but I had some leftover cake because I also own a bakery, and this is some chocolate cake that I have here. And I was just thinking of, I'm trying to think of more ways to use some of the cake tops, some of the scraps that we have. So I have some extra batter, and I'm going to use it as a crust for a chocolate cheesecake pie. So what we're going to do is just break some of this up and put it in a food processor. And I really hope Zion likes this. It's made with love. A lot of thought is going into it. This is for him. And I thought we better record it because I have a tendency to make new things and don't remember how I did it. So we're just gonna break this up, put it in here. Try not to, well, hang on. I think I'm gonna go ahead and break this down a little bit just so I can get some room in here for the rest of it. Okay, so I just need some more room to add the rest of the chocolate cake. I'm just going to pulse this until it becomes like fine crumbs. Take a look at it. Oh, we've got a little bit more to go. So, I've never done this before, so I hope it comes out good. In my mind, it's going to be really great, but sometimes that doesn't always work. Still got some chunks in here. Break it up a little bit. Okay, so it's all broken up. It resembles really fine crumbs. This could also be the base for doing cake balls or cake pops. Putting your cake in a food processor really helps. So what I'm going to do is I have some chocolate buttercream. I'm going to add just a little bit of that. Just a little bit, because it's not going to take much. You could always add more if you don't have enough, but if you put too much in, then it's just too much. So add a little bit of that. And I also have this this creme de coco. It's a chocolate liqueur. I'm going to kick it up a notch. I'm going to add that. Put about a tablespoon in there. So it is starting to get a little thick, which is exactly what I want. But we want this to form a ball. So I'm going to add just a little bit more, a little bit more liqueur. I hope this comes out really good. Like I said, I've never done this before, but in my mind it sounds really good. See how that's all starting to come together and stick? Oh yeah. This is what I'm looking for. This ball. That's kind of like what I'm looking for. Okay, so move this over here. And you need a pie plate for this recipe. You're gonna need you need some type of crust. You need a graham cracker crust or Oreo chocolate cookie crust, or what I'm attempting to do today is create my own crust out of cake, leftover cake, chocolate cake. You'll also need 8 ounces of softened cream cheese. You'll need 1/4 cup of white sugar, 1/4 cup of cocoa, Hershey's cocoa, and you'll also need a 8-ounce container of whipped topping. All right. The liqueur is just extra. I mean, you don't have to have that, but you do need some type of frosting to put into the cake crumbs. So what I'm going to do is take out, I'm going to remove this filling, and we're going to use this as a filling for, or not a filling, but I'm going to use this as a crust. So I'm just going to pat this down. Looks kind of weird, but I hope this works. I'm going to get a glass to, well, I'll do this. By the way, this makes a good dough if you're making Oreo balls or cake balls. So the same, that's how you can do that. But we're just going to pat this down and make a crust with it. I hope this works. This is how, I mean, sometimes things just don't come out right, and then sometimes things do. You never know until you try, so that's what I'm trying today. Like I said, I have Xylan in mind. I want to do something different. It is the holiday, and it's kind of like making your own, making a crust with cake crumbs. So we'll see if this works. So I'm just patting this down firmly, and then I'm going to get a glass to even it out. Just taking a clean glass, I'm just going to press this down. This is the same thing you would do if you were doing a graham cracker crust, you know, for like a cheesecake. I sure hope this comes out good. So then we're just going to pat this. And then I'm just going to clean up the sides a little bit just to make it neat. Basically, again, what I'm using is some leftover cake that I had. Instead of throwing the batter away, or if you, when I'm baking cakes, I cut the tops off to make it level, and a lot of times we just throw it away, and that's just a waste. So I've been trying to come up with different ways to use those crumbs, or not those crumbs, but use those cake leftovers. Cake scraps is what we call them in the baking world. All right, so I'm just going to let that stay here and sit. All right, here's my wet rag. I still have some left over. I guess if we want to dip it in chocolate, we could do that, but for today's demonstration and purpose, I won't do that. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator just so it can firm up a little bit, and then we'll start on the filling. All right, so this recipe that I gave you, this is very versatile. I use this for my refrigerated cheesecake pie, and like I said, we have 8 ounces of softened cream cheese. And in order to get a really creamy pie, you want to go ahead and cream your cream cheese. So just mix this. Then we're going to add in 1/4 cup of sugar. I'm just going to mix that really well. Combine it all. We'll scrape the sides. And it's still a little clumpy for me, so it's not as smooth as I would like it. So we're just going to continue to mix it with the mixer. This is the secret to getting a really creamy cheesecake, is to make sure your cream cheese is room temperature and you mix in the sugar really well. The sugar is going to help make it smooth and creamy. I've had people say, "Oh, Renee, I tried your recipe, but my pie wasn't as creamy as yours." Well, it's all in the steps. You don't have to rush this. So see how smooth and creamy that is? This is very, very creamy. It almost looks like a thick mayonnaise. See how creamy that is? There's no lumps at all. So that's the base. If your base is creamy, your pie is going to be creamy. Next, we're going to add in 1/4 cup of cocoa. I'm guessing on these measurements, but I think 1/4 cup would be enough. Plus, I only had 1/4 cup left in the container, so we're going with 1/4 cup tonight. It smells so good, so chocolatey. And I'm just going to scrape down the sides. Still very creamy. Very, very creamy. No clumps. Still have a little bit of the cream cheese residue that's white. It's not all mixed in, so I'm just trying to get that. all of that mixed in. So still very, very creamy, very thick. I want to get every bit of that. All right. Okay, next we're going to add in 8 ounces of whipped topping. You can, oh shoot, this is very room temperature. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I think this has been sitting out probably longer than I wanted it to. It does need to be thawed, and you can see this is good and thawed. Got a mess right here, so I'm just going to clean that up. Right, we'll just go ahead and mix that in. Sometimes the recipes will say fold in. You can fold it, but I always use my mixer to make sure it's good and well mixed all the way through and thoroughly. It smells so good and chocolatey. Wow, it looks like a mousse. So, again, I'm just going to scrape down the sides. Wow, this smells so good. And continue to mix, because right now it's not all incorporated. At this stage of the mixing, you can add in a teaspoon or 2 of vanilla, but instead of vanilla, we're adding the chocolate liqueur, this cream de cocoa cocktail mixer. And I'm going to add 2 teaspoons. 1 is usually probably enough, but as you can see, I only have a little bit of this left. I'm just trying to get rid of it, try to use it up. I really like adding a little bit of alcohol to some of my desserts, my recipes. It's just something different. It changes the taste. You're not going to get intoxicated, but it does add a different twist to the recipes. I have a lot of clients that like our recipes that have alcohol in them. It's just a little bit, and it tastes so good. So my pie filling is done, and this, I can tell already that this is going to be one heck of a creamy pie. It will have to sit overnight, but look how creamy that is. This is the filling for the cheesecake. All right, so I'm going to get the pie crust. And then we're going to just go ahead and fill that. Got a little bit of white in there. But doesn't that look so good? Look how creamy that looks. If I wasn't recording this, I'd be licking this part of this bowl right now, but I won't do that. Wow, look at this. Look how smooth and creamy this pie looks. Get every bit. I'm looking for an offset spatula right now. Where is my spatula? Well, I guess I don't necessarily have to have one, but I would really like to have mine. Okay, so I'm just going to smooth this out. Doesn't that look delicious? So creamy. Oh wow. This is going to be so good. Now, I know the filling is going to be good. Not sure about the crust because, like I said, that's something new that I'm trying because I am looking for different ways to use leftover cake. When we cut the tops off of the cake and level them, we tend to throw that away, and that's just such a waste. I hate doing that. So, but man, that looks so delicious. Now, one last thing that I'm going to do to this is because I have all this chocolate frosting, I'm going to go ahead and decorate the cake. This is not anything you would need to do. It's not like the average person has a container of chocolate frosting sitting around the house. So I'm just filling this up with some chocolate frosting, homemade chocolate frosting that I made. It's nice and creamy and rich and has a lot of butter in it and powdered sugar and cocoa. It's really fudgy, so I thought it'd be great for this particular pie. And so, I'm trying to see what I want to do. I think I'll just do just a few dollops. And I'll just come over here just to keep it even. And one last one. And I don't think it really needs anything else. So what I'm going to do is refrigerate this. And oh, by the way, I forgot to say that you can use a regular tin pie pan. I happen to have this one. It's ceramic. When I bake, I like to think about like my mom and my grandmother. And this was a dish that my grandmother had. And so that's kind of special to me. Now I just like to pull those things out when I get a chance to use them. So not everybody's going to have a ceramic pie dish, but you can just use a regular tin pie pan that you buy at the grocery store. So I'm going to refrigerate this overnight, and then I'll come back and show you the final product. So here's our chocolate cheesecake pie. It turned out really, really good. I'm really surprised. The crust is more like a truffle crust. It's soft. It has the texture of like cake balls. It's really soft, but as you can see, it did not stick. It's very creamy. And we've eaten half of it. So it worked. My idea worked, and this was a chocolate cheesecake pie, refrigerated. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel.